Not only are you healing from trauma and things that other people have done to you or how other people have made you feel, but you are also realizing I was not mature in that situation. Yeah, clock that, clock that, clock that.
Now you off for this one. Now you off for this one. Now you off for this one.
Hey girl. Oh, and welcome you to my YouTube channel, or just welcome you to this vlog. Welcome you to my corner of the globe, my corner of the world. I'm so happy you are here. I started this channel when I was 22 years old. So much life has happened then, and I feel like in a lot of ways I have matured as a woman, as a young adult, and I just want to share some of my experiences with you. I hope this is helpful for you, and I hope you can take a little bit of piece of what I am saying and it resonates with you in somehow or some way. What my 20s has taught me. So it's something that I'm still learning with in my early 20s, in my mid 20s. Child, it's gonna be my early 20s until I turn 30. I want y'all to know that. I can't believe I'm 25. Life is really, truly flying. In your 20s, you will start over several times, and that is okay. And what I mean by starting over is that you will probably have a plan, you will probably have an idea, or even if you're for your 2025 vision board, you're thinking this is exactly what I'm going to do and this is exactly how it's going to go, right? What I have learned though is we often have a lot of plans, but ultimately God has another way that he sees fit for our life. So sometimes when it comes to your plan, because you see it, or speaking from personal experience, the way that I see my plans and things executed, if a minor situation happens that throws me off of that plan or off of that course of action, I unfortunately think everything is falling apart, and that's not really the case. What I'm learning is redirection is so much better than we think it is. And a lot of times when I see that I'm thrown off course, I think that it means failure, but really what it means is that there's a better way or there's a better route to take instead of the grand plan or the master plan that we had originally in our idea. So if you think about it, to put into perspective, you're driving on a road, right? You take the same route every single day. You finally get to the stop sign, your normal stop sign on your route, and you see that in order for you to get past the stop sign, you have to go straight. But for whatever reason, there is cones blocked off over this course. Now, the people with most common sense would say, okay, I just have to go a different route. But then there's people like me who says, well, how else am I supposed to get there if this is the highlighted route that I was supposed to take? Not realizing that this is just redirection to get you to your destination. It doesn't mean I can't get past this point in my life. Because you aren't going down that path that you know or that you thought was the correct path for you, doesn't mean you aren't still going to make it to your route by just taking a reroute, or make it to your destination by taking a reroute. I feel like I'm talking and I'm not breathing. Like I feel so out of breath when I'm just sitting here. I'm just nervous. The next point that I want to get across is what my 20s has taught me, is that you are going to be the villain in a lot of people's stories. I don't want to say a lot, but you're going to be the villain in someone's story, right? They are going to have this idea of you. They're going to spread misinformation of you. They are going to run your name through the mud, girl. And from your perspective, you did everything you could to save that relationship, but at the end of the day, you are no one's savior. At the end of the day, people are going to form those opinions of you. People are going to have these ideas of you. Whether you were right or wrong or indifferent, whatever the situation may be, you are going to be the villains in someone's story. Unfortunately, I really hate to say that, but the way life is, you're not going to be perfect in everybody's eyes. Someone's going to have a problem with you, whether you did something wrong or whether 9 times out of 10 you probably didn't even do nothing. But that is okay. Let people spin that narrative. Let people tell your narrative, because at the end of the day, you know your truth. You don't have to come up here and defend yourself. You don't have to come up here and find the receipts. I used to be a receipts girl. I used to be a, oh, you said what, X, Y, and Z? let me pull your car. Because back in 2019, October the 7th at 7 p.m., this is actually what you said. I used to be that girl. But being that girl isn't necessary because people have already formed their opinion on you. People have already formed whatever judgment on you for whatever the situation may be. So you're going to be a villain in someone's story, but that's really out of your control. You know who you are. God knows who you are. And there's nothing that you have to prove to anyone. So be okay with being a villain. Shoot. They even hated on Jesus. Another point that my 20s has taught me is my life will not look like anyone else's. Your life will not look like anyone else's. And what that means to me is that no matter how people's lives look on social media, you will never know what's going on behind the scenes. No matter how you think, oh, I should do this because I saw so-and-so did it, or this is how it should go because they reached this level of success at this age. Your journey is so specific and so special to you that you cannot compare it to other people. You can't start your day 1 looking at someone's day 30. It literally makes no sense. And it's easier said than done because we can all fall victim to scrolling on social media, doing the doom scrolling is what they say. But just scrolling on social media sometimes can be toxic, especially when you're absorbing so much, and it kind of dims your light in a sense. How easily we can compare ourselves to other people's lives without even knowing anything but a video or a picture from what we've gathered online. So your life is not going to look like anyone else's, and that is okay. Be content and be so sure of your journey and your direction and what you're going that you can blur out whatever you're seeing online. Long story short, there's no need to be scrolling on social media wishing that things were differently because your journey is very specific to you. And if you were to have things the way you're seeing your favorite creator, who even knows if you would truly be happy with that? Because you don't know what it took for them to get there. They're not broadcasting all of the failures. They're not broadcasting all the things behind the scene. They're broadcasting their highlight moments. So take that into consideration. When it comes to success, actually, something that took me a while to understand, which I'm still wrapping my brain around, because on social media, as I just mentioned, people are only posting their highlight reels. They're only posting the highs of the highs. It is very rare that you have people actually who are currently experiencing the mud, currently experiencing the drought, that are actually posting these things in real time. A lot of times when you see people post their failures, most of the times they are no longer in that transition of their life, or they're no longer in that period of their life. They've probably made it to success. So this is like, hey, this is what I did to make it here, but I'm currently not experiencing that. So it's just like, of course you can share it now because you got through it, but a lot of people aren't showing you when they're really going through a hard time. So something to make a note of is no one is broadcasting their failures. So if you're the type of person who compares yourself to other people, who currently just always looking at someone else's life and, oh, I wish I could have that, oh, I wish I could do this, you have no idea what it took for them to get there. Be content with where you are. Be proud of how far you've come, because a lot of times we're so focused on the future and we're so focused on what our next step would be that we're not even realizing how far we've come today, right? So don't be so wrapped up in, oh my gosh, people are ahead of me, oh my gosh, people are just, I'm X, Y, and Z years old and I just want so much more for myself and I'm not reaching. No one is posting what they are really going through, girl. For real. No one is posting them boohoo crying. Before they cut that video off, you don't know if they had a mental breakdown before they started pressing the record button. Not everything is as it seems, and the more we can wrap our head around that and the more we can really realize that and really take that into consideration when we are scrolling on social media, I feel like as a whole, our mental health would be a lot better, okay? The scenes, they could be struggling. But they just posted a video, I just bought the new land. I just bought the new, I'm in that new, baby, it's a rental. And it's no shade when I'm saying this, it's no shade. I'm just breaking down, like, it could really be something like that. We just bought the new land, but it's a rental. My car really just got totaled. I really drive a Toyota Camry, and I love Toyota. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not being shady at all when I say this. I'm just saying, like, don't think that people have their shit together, because a lot of times a lot of people don't have their shit together. A lot of people are still getting it together. Another thing that my 20s has taught me is healing isn't linear. I thought the healing era was going to be very sunshine, very much so rainbows, very much so easy. Girl, the healing era will drag you through the mud. It is so hurtful, but it is so necessary at the same time. Because not only are you healing from trauma and things that other people have done to you or how other people have made you feel, but you are also realizing I was not mature in that situation. Yeah, clock that, clock that, clock that. That's something I wasn't prepared for in the healing era, because I thought, not saying I didn't think my didn't stink, but I was like, I was literally the best person to them. How could you? How could they? I was literally the best person, the best friend, the best lover, the best whatever. The best daughter, sister, da-da-da. Were you? Girl, the healing era is gonna clock your T. I'm telling you, the healing era is going to clock your T. And it's so good and so painful at the same time, but I'm just saying, be prepared for it. Because once you start unpacking things and you realize, you know what? Maybe I wasn't the best friend in that situation. Maybe I could have communicated more. Maybe I could have spoke up more instead of shutting down and isolating. Yeah. Not saying what people did to you wasn't messed up. I completely understand that. A lot of things that I went through in my life was completely messed up. And I'm just like, you did this, he did this, she did this. But in the midst of them doing all of that, did I tell them what they were doing? Did I tell them how that impacted me? Did I relay how that situation made me feel uncomfortable? I did not. That's where I can take accountability on my part. Now, it doesn't give them an excuse for trying me. It is not an excuse for anyone trying you, but what I have learned through my personal experience is a lot of situations may have been saved with the conversation. Possibly. But then the small part of me, which I'm still working on, which is I said I'm in my healing era, I haven't left it. A small part of me is like, they knew what they was doing. Don't think the healing is just gonna be this one straight shot, baby. The healing is like, all right, we're going up, we're going back down. Oh, we're going up, we're going up. It looks good, everything is great, it's going back. Oh, we're going back down. That's what healing really is. It's not just a quick, oh, we about to knock this out. I'm about to just go straight to the victory land. Like, no, that's not what healing is. And that was something that really took me a long time to wrap my head around, that I'm still processing. Like, dang, this shit doesn't end. It just, as soon as I think I've unpacked something, as soon as I think I healed something, somebody said something to me that triggered me, now I have to go back to the drawing board. But what I want to drive home to you is, when you experience those situations where you're just like, oh, that hurts. Why is that still touchy? Why is that still sore? It doesn't mean all of the work that you've put in to get to this point was essentially for no reason. What it means is you're now able to identify, I'm not fully healed yet. Let me work on that. Because before, child, when I thought I was over something, somebody said something to me, I'm like, you're triggering me. Get away. What did you do? Not realizing this is an internal thing, not an external thing. I'm clocking my own tea in this video, child. I'm clocking my own tea. Like, this is really something that's deep within inside of me that you essentially brought out. Not saying you were in the wrong for saying that, because it could have been a very normal conversation, but now you're acting irate, or now you're shutting down. If you're like me, I shut down. I get real quiet. Somebody say something, it's like, let me let that marinate, because you just said something to me and I didn't like what you said. You didn't even say nothing bad, but something about that didn't sit right in my spirit. You need to heal, sis. That's what that is. A bumpy road, girl. Buckle up. Wear your seatbelt. You need a life vest? You might. They might try to throw you in that water. Just saying. Just be prepared. But don't get frustrated with healing so much that you don't want to do it. Don't run away from it. Acknowledge it. Take accountability on your part. If you feel like you need to reach out to certain friendships, or you need to do certain things, do it. I feel like in my personal situations, I reached out to a couple of friends where I said, you know what, I could have showed up better for you during that time in our lives, and I apologize. Only do that if you feel convicted and compelled to can do that. Okay? Because I'm not saying every situation deserves that, but you have to learn how to read the room. I remember I reached out to a friend from years ago when they did some stuff to me. What I did was not have a conversation with them to let them know how that impacted me, because a lot of times I'm looking for friends to show up for me the way I show up for them, and that's not fair. Why am I expecting Tajay out of you? You were not Tajay. You were Stacy. Stacy can understand Tajay, but Stacy can't be Tajay and expect Tajay to show up in Stacy. It's just not fair. So certain friendships and things like that I reached out to, and I apologize for not having a conversation. Apologize for whatever else I may have done in those situations that may have rubbed them the wrong way, that we fell out for whatever reason. But only do that if you feel convicted and compelled. This does not mean get back with your ex. Read the room, read the room. And not only read it, digest the room as well. After you read it, I'm saying digest it. If it comes back up, that ain't right. It ain't time for you to go back and talk to that man again. I'm talking about friends here. But if you read the room and you digest it and it settles in your stomach, you're like, you know what? Maybe I do need to talk to him. Then that's different. But also keep in mind that I am not a licensed professional, so I do not want to be accountable for anything that you do. I made that disclaimer at the beginning of this video and I'm making it again now. Do what you will with that information. But that's just what my 20s has taught me. Last point here, I feel like this is a very great note to end on, is something else that my 20s has taught me is failure is not the end of the world. And in another video, I think I will actually unpack what failure really means as it pertains to me, but failure is not the end of the world. A lot of times failure is just taking a break. A lot of times failure is just taking a pause. A lot of times failure is just redirection. For me personally, when things don't work out the way I expected it to, it looks like failure in my brain. And this is something that I have to unlearn, and I'm still unlearning. For whatever reason, it's like, oh, this didn't work out the way I thought. We failed. It's over with. The world is ending. Cue the tears. Cue the rain. I'm about to dance in the rain. Like, that's how deep it gets with me. But really, that is not what failure means. Failure is not the end of the world. Failure could mean, you know what? This didn't work out. Let's regroup. This didn't work out. What could I have done better? When you start changing your perspective on what failure really is and on what situations can actually do for you in the moment, like, okay, this didn't work out, but would it work out if I did it a different way? Like, change your perspective on what failure is, because it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means, girl, let's take a break. You got a lot going on and you're trying to bring in something else. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you need to go through this to understand how to better navigate it later down the road. It doesn't mean it's over with. Sometimes failure is a stop sign. What happens when we get to a stop sign? We stop, I hope. If you like these drivers out here, oh. Some drivers, they see a stop sign, don't be that driver. Follow the law. When we see a stop sign, it means break. Let's take a pause here. You get to a stop sign, I hope this is what you do. Right? No one's here, no one's there, let's go. Let's go straight. That's all that means. Let's pause, regroup, look at the scenery, scope out the scenery if you must.
I'm gonna scope the scenery out.
And then keep going. That's really all that it means. Don't take failure so personal that you can't even look at your failure as a victory in a sense. I looked at some of my failures as a victory, because if I got what I wanted when I wanted it, woo, I would have been unequipped. I would have not had the tools that I thought that I had during that time frame if I didn't fail first. Failure is not the end of the world. Change your perspective. Hopefully I was making sense in this video. I did start off a little shaky at the beginning. I was a little nervous. I've been on this camera in a minute. So stay tuned, girl. We may be here for a while. We may be here for a little bit. I don't know. But I'm so glad that you tuned into this video and clicked on it. If you don't mind, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any pointers, if you have any feedback for any of the tips or any of the life experiences that I share with you, please let me know. I would love to know. Anything you want to talk about or anything that you feel like you want me to elaborate more, I do have a list of content ideas and things that I will be talking about on this channel. So drop them below. Drop your comments, feedback, or whatever. But thank you so much for tuning in, girl, and I will see you on my next video.